Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm, literally very warm welcome to the 2023 Annual General Meeting of PYC Therapeutics Limited. My name's Alan Tribe. I'm the chairman of the company. And here with me today, I've got on the extreme left over there, Rowan Hockings, the CEO, and Andrew here, Andrew Taylor, who is the CFO and Joint Company Secretary, Kevin Hart, who is the other Joint Company Secretary, all here. Our co-directors from the United States send their apologies. Today is Thanksgiving in the United States, or at least Thursday is, and so that's the most holiest of days, I think, over there, and so they're engaged in Thanksgiving type pursuits. So they send their apologies. There is a quorum present, and therefore I can declare the meeting open. The format for today's meeting will be, firstly, my chairman's address. That will be followed by the formal business of the meeting, and then after that, we will hear from Rowan with an update of the company's progress and future outlook. A copy of the notice convening the meeting has previously been made available to all shareholders, and that sets out in detail the nature and purpose of the resolutions to be considered here today. I'll propose to take that notice as read. All in favour, all happy with that? Thank you. Okay, firstly, the chairman's address. In the annual report, which was released just a few weeks ago, I foreshadowed that important results from the company's fourth drug program were imminent. Those drugs were announced last week, and they relate to a program to discover a treatment for polycystic kidney disease, which we refer to as PKD. PKD is the most prevalent inherited kidney disease and affects 1 in every 1,000 people worldwide. So there are more than 5 million people that have this disease. With high rates of morbidity, it is a major area of unmet patient need. Half of all PKD patients require a kidney transplant by the age of 60 due to end-stage renal failure, with dialysis being another treatment option. Currently, there are no drugs available that address the underlying cause of the disease. PKD is shaping up to be the most valuable asset in the company's drug development pipeline. The company already has 1 drug in human trials for the treatment of the blinding eye disease RP11, and 2 more drugs are scheduled to begin trials in 2024, 1 being PKD. Each program is being rapidly advanced to provide relief for patients as soon as possible. Following the successful completion of clinical trials, those drugs will enter the market and provide treatment for diseases where currently none are available. On current projections, PYC should have its first drug in the market in 2027. Importantly, this will mean that the company will derive revenue and potential returns for shareholders, and activities have now transitioned from high-risk research into trials and development of drugs, which should provide a sound commercial base for the company to underpin its future. It is indeed an exciting time to be part of the PYC journey as a future patient, a shareholder, and/or a team member. Okay, that's the end of the chairman's address. I'll move forward with some formalities now, addressing proxies. The company has received valid proxies from 104 shareholders holding a total of 786 million odd shares, representing 21.1% of the issued capital of the company. After each resolution is displayed on the screen, I will invite questions from the floor. I'll be limiting questions to the motion being considered. An opportunity will be provided for shareholders to ask questions on the resolutions. I would ask you to state your name for the record when you address the meeting. In my capacity as chairman, all resolutions today will be decided by a poll rather than by a show of hands and a vote. So accordingly, the resolutions for will be for discussion purposes only. The poll will be taken once we've been through all of the resolutions. Ballot papers were given to eligible shareholders at the time of registration, and I will ask you to complete these. The poll will be taken, results of which will be announced to the ASX later today. I will further explain the procedure for the poll at the time. Note that each shareholder at the meeting can only vote for his or her personal shareholding. Only proxies lodged with the company up to 48 hours before the meeting can be counted in the vote. Right, we'll now proceed with the business of the meeting. So first of all, the annual report. The first item on the agenda is the consideration of the financial statements, the director's statement and the report and the auditor's report for the financial year ended 30th of June 2023, all of which have been made available to shareholders in accordance with the requirements of the Corporations Act. The company's auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, are represented here today by Adam Thompson in accordance with the requirements of the Corporations Act, and he is available to address any questions or comments from shareholders on this agenda item. So, are there any questions or comments in relation to the annual report and financial statements? Very well. There's no requirement for a vote on this item, so we'll move on to the next item, which is resolution number 1, the remuneration report. The next item relates to adopting the remuneration report. Further details, including key management personnel, which includes directors, voting prohibitions, and the voting of undirected proxies, are included in the notice of the annual general meeting dated 12th October 2023. The remuneration report is set out in the annual report. In accordance with the legislation, the vote on the resolution is advisory only and does not bind the directors of the company. However, the board will take the outcome of the vote into consideration when reviewing remuneration practices and policies of the company, and we'll all be aware of the ramifications of adverse votes on the remuneration reports. I now refer shareholders to the screen displaying the resolution in full and the valid proxy results. And you can see there the large proportion of proxies in favour of the resolution. So I now formally move that the resolution 1 be put to the meeting in the form set out in the notice of the meeting. Very well. Is there any discussion on the resolution? Okay, well, as I say, this will be determined by poll towards the end of the meeting. So we'll move on to resolution number 2, which is the re-election of one of our US directors, Dr. Mike Rosenblatt. Mike is, by way of background, a former chief scientific officer of Merck in the USA. He is a very distinguished scientist and well-known throughout the pharma community in the United States, and we are indeed fortunate to have him on the board of our company. He makes a major contribution due to his experience, his connections, and his big pharma experience to date. So he is indeed a valued member of our board. I'm now, we've got the resolution up here again, and I now formally move the motion that resolution 2 be put to the meeting in the form set out of the meeting. So is there any discussion? Very well, so that will be put to the poll later as well. Resolution number 3, approval of the long-term incentive plan. The resolution is there. Thank you, Andrew. I formally move that resolution 3 be put to the meeting in the form set out in the notice. Is there any discussion on this resolution? No, thank you very much. Once again, we'll get a chance to cast a vote through the poll later. Resolution 4, reinsertion of proportional takeover provisions. The resolution again is on the screen with the valid proxy results. I now formally move that resolution 4 be put to the meeting in the form set out in the notice. Are there any questions on this resolution? Very well, thank you. Okay, so it's now time to take the polls for resolutions 1 to 4, and the representative from the share registry will act as the returning officer. Recent changes to the Corporations Act have changed the law in relation to the obligations of proxies to vote where a poll is called on any resolution. If the proxy is the chair of the meeting at which the resolution is voted on, the proxy must vote on a poll and must vote as directed. If the proxy is not the chair of the meeting, the proxy need not vote on the poll, but if the proxy does so, the proxy must vote as directed. Are you still with me? Good. If you are a proxy holder with open votes, you may vote as you wish. You've been handed a ballot paper for the poll on registration this morning. The resolution upon which the poll is being taken is to be set out on the ballot paper by you. That is resolutions 1 to 4. You should record your vote by placing a cross in the either for or against boxes on that paper. You should also print on the ballot paper your name if you're a shareholder, or the name of the shareholder whose proxy, representative or attorney you are. If you hold multiple proxies, please state this and we will complete the information from the proxies. Okay, so on to then completing the poll. So might just get moving with that, please. Thank you. You just assist with the collection process. Is there anybody else who can help? I gave it to you. Yep. So have all those poll forms now been collected? Yes. Very good. Okay, it appears that the process then is complete. And as I said earlier, the results of the polls will be announced to the ASX later today. Well, that concludes the last item on the agenda and the formal part of the meeting. I now open the meeting to all members to ask any questions. Does any member have any questions, bearing in mind that Rowan's presentation is coming next and there'll be a further opportunity for questions during and after that. So are there any questions from shareholders? Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the business of the meeting. Thank you all for your attendance here today. We really appreciate that. I formally declare the meeting closed. Now we come to the best part, which is Rowan's presentation. Thank you very much.